So if you take a look at the NHL standings, the Detroit Red Wings are no longer last place in the Central Division, and the team that has now taken that honor is no other than the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, in fact, they're actually tied. They have the same amount of games played and the same amount of points, but the Red Wings do have one more win. So by virtue of tiebreaker, they are ahead of Columbus. Things have gotten really interesting for the Blue Jackets, though, because they're 1-8-1 in their last 10. They've lost 6 in a row. Last night's loss against the Florida Panthers wasn't a good one. And for Max Domi, one of the guys who actually had himself a pretty reasonably alright past few games, Max Domi had himself 5 points in his previous 6 games played with Columbus. But despite the good numbers, Domi has put himself in a position where the doghouse has been his new home. Because yesterday, against Florida, John Tortorella ended up benching Max Domi for the first time in his NHL career. He's played in Arizona, he's played in Montreal, he's played now in Columbus, but out of all those times, he had never been healthy scratched once. Yesterday was that. Now, we know we're also going to be talking about William Nylander too, but for Domi, I wanted to expand a little bit more on this subject because it's just kind of, for all the hate that John Tortorella gets at this point, I don't really know if this one really falls under that same category. We had the tweet here from Aaron Portzlin yesterday before the game that Tortorella said Domi would be a healthy scratch versus the Panthers. And Portzlin said that Tortorella would not go into detail regarding Domi being a healthy scratch. However, there is some speculation. He was furious with Domi when he lost his cool, getting a 2-minute minor and a 10-minute misconduct versus the Blackhawks. When Domi ended up hooking Connor Murphy, he held his hands up trying to make him seem like he was completely free, but the referee called the whistle anyway, and Domi was really upset to see that, so he went over to Murphy and took the gloves off and started just going after him. Not a good play, not really all too disciplined, and what was going to be a 2-minute just normal hooking minor ended up being a 10-minute misconduct as well, so you can definitely see why Torts would be upset at that. He was furious when Domi did that, and also when Domi did the same thing to Rhett Gardner and the Dallas Stars on Saturday. So Domi had himself 2 scenarios in the previous few games where he ends up losing his temper and just unloads on the other guy. The Rhett Gardner one actually doesn't have any video footage. Here's a comment on Reddit from the entire thread on our hockey. The part Tortorella is upset about is lost to a TV timeout. It started with Domi slashing a guy, then high-sticking another guy 10 seconds later, then trying to fight the guy he high-sticked. The linesman broke it up, and then Domi started jawing at the referee, and then it went to a commercial. He got 2 and 2 in a game for it, and whatever he did to get the game is lost, because neither broadcast talked about it. But either way, Tortorella, as I said, for all the hate this guy gets for his own coaching decisions, benching guys, scratching guys, Patrick Laine, Dubois, and now Domi, this one kind of feels a little bit justified. And a lot more so than some of the previous instances we have seen. For example, when Patrick Laine misses his check and ends up getting a -1 in the goal against category, or all the other things that Patrick Laine has had to deal with. All those kind of seem unfair. This Domi one, I think it's honestly a little bit more acceptable just considering the circumstances and considering the context behind these actions. For Domi, it's really easy for Habs fans to come over here and say, oh, Josh Anderson, Max Domi again. Here's another example of why Bergevin was right. But all things considered, it's not really something that I'm super surprised about. We always knew that Domi had a feisty attitude. Like, come on, his dad is Ty Domi. That's not a surprise to see these physical altercations that happen once in a while. But when it gets to a point where you're literally putting your team at a disadvantage, even though you're scoring points, even though you can actually produce now, yeah, the coach has got to do his part in saying, okay, what are you doing? Stop it. Get some help. And who knows, maybe sitting him out against the Florida Panthers and watching the team absolutely get demolished from the rafters is what needs to be done. Aside from that, though, we have another story of benching going on in the NHL because William Nylander, at the time of this recording, we actually don't know if it's confirmed. I'm recording this the night of Monday, April 19th at 10:42 p.m. PST, but earlier this morning, we had ourselves the Toronto Maple Leafs practice that was raising a few eyebrows because on the ice was William Nylander, not wearing the normal white practice jersey. Instead, he was practicing with a gray taxi squad jersey in his place. Now, a lot of people were kind of weirded out. Oh, why is he wearing the taxi squad jersey? Why is he not wearing the normal colors out there? Is there something going on with William Nylander? And turns out something did happen. Sheldon Keefe said that William Nylander was late for a meeting today, hence the taxi squad gray jersey. He wasn't going to play tomorrow because of it, and that will actually be reassessed ahead of the game. So the Leafs are playing the Vancouver Canucks later today. I'm saying today because this video is going up on Tuesday the 20th at 6 p.m. PST. Right now, this video is going to be uploaded at 10 a.m. PST, so whether or not there actually is a confirmation that Nylander will be benched because he missed out on a team meeting, that's up in the air at the time of me recording this audio right now. Of course, things could change. They could just come out tomorrow and say, oh, that was a message sent and a message acknowledged, so he's going to come back and he's actually going to play. But either way, I thought there was value in talking about this because things like these, you miss team meetings and all that, yes, they are commitments that you need to uphold and that you need to respect, and obviously missing practice is not a good thing, but you know, depending on how exactly things went down, we all have those moments where we miss an alarm, or we accidentally write PM instead of AM, or we end up sleeping in. For example, Kasperi Kapanen, that happened to him a lot during his time with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and as a result, he faced the same kind of discipline. It's just really interesting, though, for Nylander specifically, because with the Toronto Maple Leafs in a position where now Zach Hyman is out for 2 weeks, which is probably one of the best case scenarios we could have had, because obviously that Alex Edler hit knee-on-knee was terrible. But with Hyman out, and you have yourselves a William Nylander that might not suit up in the lineup as well against Vancouver, against a team that, as we noted, they hadn't played in 3 weeks, and they had their first win in about a month. And they're still riding high off of the adrenaline of beating Toronto in overtime a few days ago. Things could get really interesting for the Toronto Maple Leafs should they play this reinvigorated Vancouver Canucks squad that just stole a great overtime 2-point performance from the Leafs the other day. So, hey man, I'm kind of liking it. Personally speaking, as a Vancouver Canucks fan, we know how good William Nylander can be. We know how good this guy is on the rush. He just recently made his return to the lineup, for crying out loud. But I've seen so many Leafs fans being super fair about this and saying, yeah, if he misses practice, he kind of deserves to get the punishment because of the lack of awareness and lack of commitment that an act like that kind of implies you have towards your hockey team. So of course, even though it's a big blow, the Leafs, at the end of the day, they're still first in the North Division, but you gotta be winning these games. You gotta be winning against the Vancouver Canucks team that had been out for a few weeks because they were all battling a life-threatening illness. So yeah, Leafs news, eh? Again, though, we will update this as the story goes on. If William Nylander plays tonight, then we'll cover that in our post-game review, just talking about everything. And you know, as a Vancouver Canucks fan, I've been saying this the entire time, even in all the streams that we had been doing. But if the Canucks lose every single game from here on out, that's fine. Absolutely fine. We're icing an AHL lineup, we're icing a whole bunch of guys, some of whom who had the virus, others who hadn't been playing for weeks. And, you know, this is not really the primed condition that a hockey team should be going through if they want to go out there and win games. Which is what makes that win the other day so special, that they actually pulled it off, and they actually came back down 2-0, and they did it all without their best player, without their starting goalie, without one of their D pairings, and with a whole bunch of AHL caliber guys injected into the lineup as well. We might see something similar later tonight against Toronto, but hey, if Toronto doesn't have that Nylander, then I think things get a lot more interesting for the Vancouver side of things. But that was our video here today, talking about Domi and how he got benched, scratched, healthy scratch because of his outbreaks against Chicago and Dallas. Also talking about the William Nylander thing, where it might look like he is going to get scratched later tonight as well. Who knows if that's going to go down? It wasn't confirmed or denied by Keefe. It was just implied that it might be the case, but again, updates coming along the way. Talk to me in the comments what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. Ash Rolls 99, and bye.